Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to another riveting plant expose, for those of you still awake, of course. Um, for my project, I decided to go with watercress. I didn't know much about it going into it, other than it was the cousin of arugula, and afterwards I'm actually really interested in it. I'm really a believer in all of its benefits. The name sounds really boring, but don't let it fool you. It's actually one of the more exciting edible plants that I've come across, which might be a low bar, but you get the idea. So, in my extensive research, by which I mean my single Google search, I was able to determine that watercress is found all over, but it's believed to be native to Europe and Asia. Watercress is a perennial plant from the cruciferae family, which is fancy talk for all the green vegetables that Instagram models are posing with. So, your kale, turnips, cabbages, things like that, the expensive ones. As you can guess by its name, watercress is grown hydroponically. It grows best in cold, alkaline springs in the springtime, but is very easy to domesticate too if you need to. And it doesn't require a hydroponic, it really just requires a very damp soil that's kept at a neutral pH level. As far as taste goes, if you're not familiar with it, it might be a really strange experience for you. It doesn't taste like lettuce. It's known for its very spicy, peppery flavor, which makes it, at least in my opinion, so important to incorporate into plant-based meals because it provides so much flavor to dishes that otherwise you might not be interested in or find really bland. As far as buying watercress, you're encouraged to enjoy it fresh. Cooking really erodes its signature taste, and so as such, it has a very short shelf life. It lasts maybe a week tops. It's found in the produce section by all of its mustard family members, or sometimes in the herb section, and it's available at your local Publix by the spinach, actually. The prices of it vary, but the Instagram models are certainly keeping its stock up, which makes it a bit pricier than your average lettuce. I believe here at Ave it's about $5 for a small 5 or 6 ounce bag. I also found it in a powdered form for easy incorporation into smoothies and high density of it, which I think might taste a little strange, but to each their own. I actually have a friend who makes a lot of savory smoothies with tomatoes and watercress and things like that, so I guess it can't be all bad. Just as an aside, I had the amount of times that I Googled watercress in the last 2 weeks has resulted in Google trying to get me to buy $11 pressed juices with watercress in it. So that's a new experience. The magic in the micronutrients. A watercress doesn't hold a high amount of macronutrients. It only averages about 4 calories, zero point 0.4 grams of carbs, zero point 0.8 grams of protein, minimal fat, and zero point 0.2 grams of fiber per 1 cup of chopped watercress, which is about 34 grams. We do have some omega-3s and 6s in watercress, which mainly contribute to the benefits of vitamins and minerals that we'll see laid out in a moment. But it's renowned for its micronutrients, most prominent of which is vitamin K, it's vitamin C, vitamin A, and calcium, with additional help from phosphorus, potassium, folate, vitamins B6 and B12, iron, and magnesium. It also manages to fit a lot of amino acids into such a tiny leaf. That chart on the right is just a cup serving and all the amino acids you get from it. With all of these micronutrients, you get a lot of benefits. Some of them laid out for you. It contains cancer-preventive phytonutrients. Cruciferous veggies, in particular, have been shown to have anti-carcinogenic enzymes. So uncooked watercress and other cruciferous vegetables inactivates carcinogens and saves cells from DNA damage. It also improves eyesight, as vitamin C has been suggested to reduce cataract development. It improves the function of the thyroid gland by reducing hormone production. The risk of heart disease is lowered and blood pressure is lowered. And that's in thanks to the amount of calcium, magnesium, and potassium that aid in lowering blood pressure by artery dilation and sodium expulsion from the body. It also aids in brain health. It's improved by the consumption of vitamin C and folate, which helps in preventing cognitive degradation and diseases such as Alzheimer's, as well as reducing bleeding after a stroke. It also acts as an antidepressant. The folate in watercress works as a neurotransmitter to affect serotonin levels, and the lack of folate increases and results in an increased risk of depression. Calcium and folate also contribute to bone health. Calcium increases osteoblast production, and folate helps maintain its density. Regarding the research portion and kind of digging into the studies done regarding watercress, there are several studies that I found pertaining to it, and the rest of them are but a Google search away, but these are the two that I found most necessary to my slides. The first one being a 2014 CDC study that found it to beat out other fruits and vegetables as the most nutrient-dense food, even beating out spinach and beets. So something to consider. And secondly, a 2007 study that links back to the anti-carcinogenic enzymes found in cruciferous vegetables. It's a study that found that the consumption of watercress reduced lymphocyte DNA damage and therefore reduced cancer risks. And I've linked both of those there for anybody who wants to read them. So some of the more ancient dates regarding watercress are a little muddled. I had to drop them because I couldn't tell if they were true or not true, but one thing that's generally agreed upon is that it dates back to uses in ancient Rome. It was believed to treat blood disorders and thought to cure insanity, which can likely be benefited to its levels of potassium, calcium, magnesium, and their aids in reducing depression, Alzheimer's, and blood pressure and things like that. And in addition, it was also used by Roman soldiers to sustain them as they journeyed. Later on, it was used by sailors to treat and prevent scurvy, which makes a lot of sense. It's obviously more accessible to Europeans than tropical fruits were at the time. It became very common in Britain, and watercress soup was developed to what they believed to cleanse their blood in the 19th century. And it's actually a dish that became so popularized that the watercress line was invented, which is a railroad that's responsible for quickly transporting watercress from its fields to London markets in the 1860s. And now for the best part of the presentation, the recipes. First up is a variation of the watercress soup that was used in Britain in the 19th century. The only difference is back then it was less common to use cream in these dishes, but here I think it's tastier, so I included this recipe. You can see the basics of it. It's watercress, potatoes, onion, garlic, vegetable stock, certain spices. It's easy to make. It's really just sauteed and pureed, and that's kind of the beauty of these watercress recipes. Once you've got the basics, you really have the opportunity to make it your own. And for me personally, I added on the bottom, I like heat, so I might include some red pepper flakes in there. I love my garlic, so I might try to elevate that a little bit and roast it ahead of time. It's really up to you to do whatever you want to make it as tasty as possible. Second up is a callback to its Asian roots with a watercress Asian salad. As you can see, again, it's chopped up whole ingredients and whole vegetables with a very simple, tangy vinaigrette. It's very easy on a busy night. There's room for a lot of variation. I saw instead of using forbidden rice, some people use white rice or brown rice. You can swap out what color peppers you want, different spices. It's really up to you to make your own, and it's really delicious and really nutritious. And lastly is the recipe that I am most excited about. It's a watercress pesto that uses watercress to replace the basil. Again, it's very, very simple, whole ingredients mixed together to provide a base that just lets you run with your taste buds and incorporate it into whatever dish you want to make. Personally, I would throw this on top of a plate of pasta because I'm Italian and I will look for any excuse to throw pasta in. Maybe if you're not going for a plant-based meal, throw some grilled chicken on top. Maybe not. It's whatever floats your boat. It's open to your interpretation. And finally, this project would not be complete without crediting where credit is due. all of the information not directly listed on their respective slides can be found here. And thank you very much.